Now, that's a big boy. He's strong. You know, you box good. You can do this. You got this over him. You're gonna have to tighten up this. You're gonna have to do this. You know, it's a conversation.
With Canelo said, I believe Canelo at one particular time thought I was scared of him.
Following a training session with Terence Crawford, Floyd Mayweather's initial remarks radiated confidence as he offered valuable insights to assist Crawford in preparing for a potential bout against Canelo Alvarez. Mayweather, often hailed as the greatest boxer of all time, has shown a keen interest in mentoring Crawford. Having triumphed over Canelo Alvarez in 2013, Mayweather's wealth of experience and tactical expertise could prove invaluable to Crawford, particularly if he
Had to have 70 fights or 150 fights, 300 fights. Did I not beat the most world champions?
Yes, you did.
Okay. And in the least amount of fights?
Yes, you did.
Who got the highest gate?
Floyd Mayweather.
Who made the most money?
You did.
Who was the most accurate fighter of all time?
You were.
So it's basically saying that
The greatest of all.
decides to take on the formidable challenge of facing Canelo. By tapping into Mayweather's unparalleled mastery of the sport, Crawford could significantly enhance his readiness for such a high-stakes encounter. Interviews. Floyd Mayweather looked back on his fight with Canelo Alvarez, highlighting the notable size difference between them. He recalled, "I probably came in at 151 or 152, underscoring how he was the smaller fighter in the ring. Despite
it wasn't my idea. So at one particular time, you guys can, anybody, you can go online and pull this up. It was an article. So with Canelo said, I believe Canelo at one particular time thought I was scared of him, you know, that I was afraid. So he said, Floyd don't want to fight me. I'm willing to meet him at 152 pounds or 152 and a half. And me, I called his bluff and said, if you want to do it, let's do it at 152 or 152 and a half. And, but after Canelo made the weight, it wasn't like it was a certain clause to where he couldn't gain weight. So after he weighed 152 or 152 and a half, I think he came in like 168 or close to 170. And actually I came in at probably like, I probably came in at 151 and 152.
Gotcha.
But Roy Jones is one hell of a fighter. You know, I can't get on here and hate on his skills and knock his skills. He's been through a lot in the sport of boxing, and he's done a lot for the sport of boxing. And I'm absolutely
the weight disadvantage, Mayweather demonstrated his unparalleled mastery, outclassing the younger, stronger Canelo with his exceptional skill, precision, and experience. This dominant performance further solidified Mayweather's legacy as one of boxing's all-time greats. Interviews. Mayweather recently shared his thoughts on a potential matchup between Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez. He urged caution, advising Crawford to carefully weigh the challenges of moving up in weight to face Alvarez. Drawing from his own experience, having defeated Alvarez in 2013, Mayweather stressed the importance of strategic planning and meticulous preparation for such a high-stakes.
Terence Crawford jumping up from 154 to 168 and beating this quote-unquote version of Canelo Alvarez would diminish the accomplishment that Floyd Mayweather accomplished beating his version of Canelo Alvarez. Is it two different versions of Canelo Alvarez? And obviously, Canelo Alvarez is 62 wins, 2 losses, 2 draws, 39 big wins by way of knockout. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer. He is obviously bigger. When Floyd fought him, was at 152 catch weight, but it had no rehydration clause. So you might as well just say it was at 154. Now, two things they have in common is that Floyd Mayweather was 36, 37 years of age. Terence Crawford is 37 years of age, going on 38. So he'll be 38 when he fights Canelo Alvarez. Floyd had already had 2 fights at 154. He had the fight with Miguel Cotto, and he had the fight with Oscar De La Hoya.
His insights highlight the complexities Crawford would face in stepping up to take on a formidable opponent like Canelo. Interviews. Recently, Terence Crawford and Floyd Mayweather visited a gym to watch Shocker Stevenson train, showcasing their support for the rising boxing star. Their presence highlighted the strong mentorship and camaraderie within the boxing community. During a recent gathering at a Las Vegas gym, Mayweather humorously addressed Eddie Hearn's past comments questioning his net worth. With a career earnings of over $1.2 billion, Mayweather lightheartedly showed Hearn some of his accounts to playfully prove his wealth, sparking a friendly exchange between the two. Hearn was also seen engaging in a lively conversation with Crawford and Mayweather, as the trio shared laughs and discussed various topics, enjoying each other's company.
Called me earlier, it's like, yo, when you spar, I'm gonna come to the gym. I'm like, shit, I'm gonna spar at 4 o'clock. I really didn't think he was gonna pull up, but he pulled up. It means everything, his advice and listening to him in the ring. He calling out little shit. I'm trying to make sure I do what he says, so I appreciate it.
You hear him when you're sparring?
Hell yeah, I can hear everything he's saying. He want me to box, he want me to, I can hear him, but sometimes it's like, it's hard to listen sometimes, but I gotta listen a little bit more. A hell of a blessing to have Bud, Floyd, all these guys backing me, and I appreciate it. I'm just trying to keep pushing and keep getting better and better.
Yeah, so they wanted to pull up. You know what I'm saying?
What was that like?
Yeah, I mean, I've never really spoke to Floyd before. I've met him half a dozen times, and we've sort of said hello and all that kind of stuff. But actually, he's a funny fucker. He is. And I'm single-handedly making Terence Crawford the most popular fighter in the world, because I am the only one that's ever brought out his personality. True or false? Right? And Terence is one of the top guys in the sport.
But even if he wasn't, you'd still say that because your business man now is working and you're going,
I wouldn't say top. I might say top, but he's unbelievably humble. Let me give you an example. Terence Crawford is with Steve Nelson's team, okay? They are staying at a hotel, part of the Cosmopolitan Group, across the street, all right? Nice hotel.
Oh, my hotel, actually.
Yeah, okay. Nice, right, but, you know, there are many more fancy hotels in Las Vegas, okay? He has a standard room there, and we said to him, listen, do you want us to get you he could go into any hotel in Vegas and get a palatial suite. And he said, no, I want to stay with Steve for the week in a standard room. Now, to some people, they might go, oh, big deal. You know what people are like. I don't know many people that would actually do that. Floyd definitely wouldn't do that. But Terence is probably one of the most humble fighters in his position of the sport. And do you know what I love about being in environments like that last night? The love for the sport. Like Terence is watching Shakur sparred. Shakur sparred 14 rounds. 14 4-minute rounds with 30-second breaks. And Terence and Floyd watched the entire spar. They then went to another ring and watched another, I think it's Ray Ford, and watched another.
Hearn later recounted his experience of unexpectedly running into Terence Crawford and Floyd Mayweather at a training camp. He clarified that the meeting wasn't prearranged, saying, I didn't go down to the gym to meet Crawford and Floyd. I was just there, and they probably heard I was around, so they pulled up. Reflecting on the encounter, Eddie shared that he hadn't interacted much with Floyd in the past, despite having met him several times, but found him surprisingly humorous. He also joked about his role in bringing out Crawford's personality, quipping, I'm single-handedly making him the most popular fighter in the world. Hearn's lighthearted take on the meeting highlighted the playful dynamic between the three. Interviews. Hearn also spoke highly of Terence Crawford.
A done deal. Terence Crawford, Canelo Alvarez. Early thoughts? What do you think?
Yeah, look, the first thought is, can he handle the weight jump? Can he handle the weight jump? He being Crawford against Madridov, people are going to say, "Oh, he had some hiccups." Who don't have hiccups? When you eat something that's a little difficult to eat, and Madridov was a little difficult to eat. He's not easy to digest. He's a good fighter. When you eat something that's a little tough to digest, you get hiccups, right? So come on, he's human. So he had a few hiccups. He won the fight. He's Terence Crawford. A lot of people say, "Oh, Teddy, you make him so good. You're always saying how great Crawford is." But who's he beating? He unified the what was his first division? Lightweight. Then he unified the junior. Then he unified the junior welter. Then he unified the welter. I think I got the weight classes right. It doesn't matter. He unified like 3 different weight classes. He moved up in weight. He's beaten anybody that they put in front of him. He beat an undefeated fighter in Errol Spence that everybody thought was just like, one of the best fighters out there, which he was. He was. He was one of the top fighters pound for pound out there, and he didn't just beat him. He dismantled him. He might have ruined him. We were talking about getting ruined in fights earlier. He might have ruined him. We don't know. He hasn't been back yet, Spence. He may have psychologically, physically ruined him. But he has done everything asked of him, and he's done it in a superb way. It's not that he's just won. I look at how people win. You know, how versatile are they? How mentally together are they? What happens when they're tested? What happens when they have to make an adjustment? You know, I look at all those things. What happens when they can't depend on power? What else do they have to depend on? I look at everything, their technique, their defense, their offense, all of it. And I look at Crawford as one of those special guys. I don't care if you guys...
Describing him as asterisk, probably the most humble fighter in his position. Asterisk, despite being one of boxing's elite, Crawford remains grounded and approachable, a quality that truly sets him apart. Hearn emphasized Crawford's authenticity, praising his deep respect for the sport and his genuine character. Meanwhile, Teddy Atlas analyzed a potential matchup between Crawford and Canelo Alvarez, raising questions about whether Canelo could handle the smaller, faster, and more technically skilled Crawford. Atlas pointed to Crawford's superior defensive abilities, sharper footwork, and knack for creating angles as tools that could exploit Canelo's occasional slow
about the pound for pound #1 in the world, Terence Crawford. Always making headlines these days. He's cemented his legacy. I think certified Hall of Famer whenever he wraps it up. Stepped up in weight, won another world title last time out. Now they're talking about this fight with Canelo Alvarez. It was interesting to see the comments from Canelo and how he sort of assessed Bud Crawford's career. I almost feel after the Spence fight that was like an exclamation point on everything he's done, maybe from the critics who never gave him credit, but it almost seems like Canelo was downplaying his achievements. What do you make of that? Is that to build a fight? Because it sells itself.
Well, I'm gonna tell you like this. I think Crawford rebuttal was everybody always say he hasn't fought nobody, or everybody that he fought was a no name. But I'm gonna tell you like this: what Crawford said, well, they was something until Crawford fought him. So obviously he's doing a great job because he's making everybody look normal.
Not everyone, like when they go against Canelo, I don't think there's anyone else in boxing who you would ask and say this is a possible task for, but for Crawford, because of his pound for pound abilities, and apparently no rehydration clause. Am I hearing that right? He wants full smoke at that weight.
Let's go, man. That's what Crawford wants. He wants to show the world that he's the best. So, and why put stipulations in there when you know that you can be the best? So let's go test ourselves.
Look, I appreciate you taking this time. We don't get to speak all the time, so it's good to get you over here, and maybe we'll catch up later in fight week, but I appreciate you.
Downs at this stage of his career. He also questioned whether Canelo could still close the distance quickly or if Crawford's speed and movement would keep him off balance. Atlas pondered whether Crawford's elusiveness could neutralize Canelo's power by preventing him from landing his signature explosive punches. Interviews. Thoughts on Canelo Alvarez's recent comments about Terence Crawford suggest that Canelo may have downplayed Crawford's accomplishments, possibly to lay the groundwork for a potential fight. Back highlighted Crawford's response to critics who argue he hasn't faced elite opponents, pointing out that many of those fighters were considered top tier until Crawford dismantled them. This speaks to Crawford's sheer dominance, as he has a way of making high-caliber opponents look ordinary. Back also noted that Crawford doesn't seek excuses or special conditions, such as rehydration clauses, because he aims to prove he's the best without any limitations. Crawford's readiness to take on challenges head-on further solidifies his confidence and reinforces his status as a pound-for-pound great.
It's just a fluid situation. I don't think there's anything definitive one way or the other at this point. I mean, it's not a secret that that's a fight that's been discussed by a lot of us and by a lot of people in the sport for quite a while. Certainly, it's a fight that Turki Al-Sheikh from Saudi Arabia has shown a lot of interest in. And of course, if it's going to get made, someone's going to have to put up a lot of guaranteed money. And he's probably the person that's going to do it. He's obviously been working closely with Terence Crawford. He was involved with the Terence Crawford's last fight that took place in August when he fought Israel Madrimov. It's obviously a fight that Terence Crawford has been very vocal about wanting. Now, Canelo hasn't ever said he wanted the fight, kind of downplayed it to a certain degree. But it wasn't that long ago, I don't know, maybe
couple of months ago, he was doing an appearance, and he was asked about it, and he didn't close the door on it. In the past, he sort of like closed the door on it. It was like, I'm not interested. He's like, listen, I'll talk to anybody and listen to what they have to say about the deal, any kind of deal. So in my mind, that sort of at least cracked open the door to have the conversation. Like he wasn't just saying, forget it, in terms of working with Turkey or anybody else. So I think that Canelo is a smart person in terms of his boxing, but also in terms of his business. And when he looks around at the landscape and he wants to make a huge amount of money, like all top fighters or any fighter for that matter, and he looks and sees, who can I fight where I can...
It's like fans are saying that Crawford should fight David Benavidez or a true 168-pounder. Doesn't make sense. Bud is after legacy, and then he said, and money. So this proves why I don't want to see this particular fight like some of y'all. He just told you. So this is what I call an advanced cherry pick. Now, I know some people, you're going to start crying. The reason I say advanced, now, it's not an advanced, it's not a cherry pick in the normal sense of like, you know, because this would be an accomplishment if Bud can defeat somebody at a higher weight class without acclimating, right? So it's not the traditional cherry pick, but it is still an advanced, or this is what I'm calling it, an advanced cherry pick, because his own teammate and friend, Steve Nelson, is telling you there's no reason for Bud to fight a true 168-pounder. He started off by saying Canelo Alvarez started off smaller, like a welterweight earlier in his career at 54, and then made his way up to 68. So that lets me know the mentality from Team Crawford is Canelo, we know he has shown signs of slippage and being a little bit older.